middle belt. So the middle belt is 14 states, and southern Kaduna, southern Kebbi, they are in the middle belt. So when we have that large area, 14 states, that is called middle belt, and we come together with the rest of the south, there is no doubt about it that whoever we put as a candidate wins election in whatever party. But there are challenges. The institutional structures that are there, like I mentioned earlier, we cannot get anything done without restructuring, proper restructuring of this country. Particularly, let me bring INEC for instance. There is no doubt about it. When the middle belt and the southern part of Nigeria come together, there is no challenge to that election or to bring up a candidate and he wins election at any given time for as long as possible. But when we have the kind of INEC that we have today, that is not truly independent, where votes don't count, where people just vote, and they will tell you that this is the result we're expecting, and it comes out like that, then we still have a long way to go. So we can come together, yes, we can come together, we can make the coalition, but we still have to work hard to restructure the country, particularly our basic national institutions, the security, the police particularly, INEC, and so on. When we come to a point where one vote can make one lose election or make one to win election, then we have come close to getting the right thing, and it will not matter whoever that stands for election, whether he comes from the west, from the east, from the south, Christian, Muslim, atheist, or whatever. If he's accepted by the people, he will work for the people. Let me give you an example of what we have in Kaduna State. The governor speaks to people as if we're conquered in a war, as if we're prisoners of war. We're citizens, law-abiding citizens. We're electorates that went to vote. But he talks to our leaders. He talks to our religious leaders, our traditional rulers, our political leaders, as if we're conquered in a war, without respect. And any leader that knows that votes count, one vote can make you win election or lose election, will never talk like that, will behave himself, will never play this dictatorship that we're seeing. So I think the problem starts with restructuring.
Thank you very much, Honorable. There is a second part to the question that was posed by Daniel Elomba. The second part of that question is, do you think that by coming together of these regions, you are going to upset, or would the others feel that they've been left behind, therefore maybe scuttling any coalition movement, any coalition pact you might, have built?
Anybody that will feel left behind is one that is a beneficiary of the crooked system, the inefficient system that is operational today. And that is why many of those that oppose restructuring are those that are direct beneficiaries of the crooked system that we are operating. And so we cannot wait for such people. What matters now is that this country needs to be redeemed. We don't need to remain in a situation where soon after a person is elected, he becomes a team god. He decides whether you leave or you don't. He decides whether you are homeless or you have a home to stay. And that is what we're seeing today all over. That critical decisions that are supposed to be left to the citizens. No consultation with the citizen whatsoever. But you see implementation. And that is what I'm talking about. So anybody who feels left out of this decision to redeem this nation is a person who is benefiting from the crooked arrangement, which is oppressing everybody.
Okay, Dan, do you have a follow-up question to that? If not, we can move over to Ann-Kio Briggs. Daniel?
Sorry, I have no follow-up question. Our time is running, so let's...
Okay, so Ann-Kio, if you can respond to the initial question by Dan, I mean, just 3 minutes, please.
The issue of the coalition between the southern part of Nigeria, which is, as Joanthan have highlighted for us, if we then look at the coalition, and when he was talking, I did the maths, we then have altogether 31 states, assuming that we're able to pull off this this coalition, and assuming that we're concentrating on the political issues, which is the issue of restructuring Nigeria. Now, if we go and discuss restructuring Nigeria, if we recall, we had the 2014 National Conference. That 2014 National Conference is the sitting down that my friend Otunba was talking about. We sat down from May, April, till about August, and we agreed on the things that have become the contending points in Nigeria today. We agreed that Nigeria needed to be restructured. We suggested that Nigeria should be restructured. When you say restructure Nigeria, what are we talking about? We're talking about a country that will be governed as a federated country, as a federation. If you govern Nigeria as a federation, then the input Otunba made about California becomes valid. The desire that people like me have in my region, which is that we should be able to determine what we want for ourselves. People are thinking it's about oil and gas, No, I grew up I came to Nigeria as a 4-year-old to affluence. I mean, my grandfather was exporting palm kernel even before my father was born, and oil and stuff like that. So in that area, we were already quite rich before ever anybody discovered a crude oil. So it has nothing to do with crude oil. So now, if we want to say that this is the last stand for Nigeria, and if we want to say that let us agree on what we want, I know that my people want restructuring. We want to restructure Nigeria. There are some people today, right now, who will contribute on this program and will begin to agitate against us for even considering restructuring. Because the federal government we have today have already told us, the president told us even before he was elected, that he didn't believe in the conference and that he doesn't believe in restructuring Nigeria. There's some of them say they don't understand what restructuring means. So what I see is a desire to continue to take us round and round in circle, because we seem to be the ones that want to restructure Nigeria. And so the people who don't want to restructure Nigeria, and they are only to be found in 5 states by this calculation, are still taking us round and round in circle. And so whether we have a candidate that all the 31 states will vote for in 2023, by Joanthan's calculation and by what we know, is that there is not going to be anything that resembles an election in 2023. But we have to get to 2023 before some will be convinced. And then we will know that there will be no elections. And that even if there is elections, the people who are in the 5 states, who are now running and controlling a country as big as Nigeria, are still the people that will determine who's going to win at that election. Look at what's happening in Edo State right now. Just take Edo State alone. Forget Ekiti and all those things that happened. Forget even what happened in Rivers State in 2019. So look, we really have to be able, for me, I've been in this for 22 years, focused on it. We have to begin to accept that this is the path we're going to take. And when I say we now, I'm talking about all of us coming together, southern Nigeria plus the middle belt, coming together and saying, okay, this is the last chance. And then this is how we're going to do it. But the question is, are we going to be able to achieve that? And so if we're not able to achieve that, what we're planning now, and we drag ourselves all the way to 2023, and we don't achieve it, then what? Then who's going to take over? Because by 2023, I'll be in my 70s. I'll be definitely 70 years old in 2023. You know, so then it means my grandchildren are preparing to come into this fight. We have to be realistic in Nigeria. We have to know that we've been kicked and battered and bruised since 1914 through on to 1960, and we must begin to find we must determine what the solution is going to be, and then go with that solution. And if it doesn't work, there must be an alternative. But that all of those things must have a timeline that will expire before 2023. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. I've been in this for 22 years, and I've lived in Nigeria for all the time that I have been in activism, fighting this equity and justice cause. And I know what I know. Unless the people in power today change their mind and do 360-degree turnaround, I do not see the hope that we are aspiring to. It's not going to come if this is the way we're going to go about it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So just to get it, Otunba, if you can make it very snappy. Obviously, you've disagreed with the stand taken by Honorable Asake and Ann-Kio Briggs. So I don't know. I'm not saying that you must.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just I didn't disagree. I actually went from what he said and said that if we agree with what he's saying, then these are the options.
Yes, so Otunba, please go ahead. What I was alluding to is that obviously Otunba disagreed with what your initial presentation and what Joanthan Asake said. Therefore, Otunba, now you have the floor for 3 minutes before we will bring in Chief Goddy Uwazurike. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, let me correct that. Yeah, okay. let me correct that, Mazi. I wasn't really contradicting or disagreeing with Honorable Joanthan and my sister Ann. All I was saying is I was looking at the problem of Nigeria holistically right from beginning. That we made this mistake of allowing ourselves to be used, to be allowed to be trampled upon by few of us. That's when the problem started. Okay. And but then coming to but coming to the where we are now, because like I also said in my presentation that the amount of people, part of the country that are agitating that they want to break away and all that kind of thing. And when you look at their case, you want to understand in your country for the last 60 years or so, being ruled or being managed by less than 4%, taking advantage of everybody, stealing the commonwealth of the country, using it as they want, and so on and so forth. So if this large part of the country now reacts and say, no, enough is enough. I don't want to sit down in London and start blaming them. Of course not. So, but in order to, what I want to contribute to Honorable Joanthan and my sister Ann is, if this calculation, if this permutation is achievable, or we can put this number of people together, this is not war. Because again, like I said, like old politicians, I mean, in the UK say, there's no war we do. Now, I would say the amount of awareness we can put for 3 years, I'll be 76. I'm not saying it's not long enough. If we put amount of awareness, because one problem I found out is every time you're fighting for the poor people in Nigeria, you're wasting your time. You're wasting because they have been so bastardized. They have been ruined. They have been robbed of virtually what they stand for as a human being. So if you're talking of waiting until when the election or whatever comes, you'll be surprised that they've been kept in the freezer there to be recycled. So I would think, yes, I want to go with that permutation of Honorable Joanthan. But then we need to do not just permutation here. We need to add other part of working, talking, and then doing the work. We need to start educating our people to make sure that we have the majority. So when it comes to election, then they can now vote for whoever we present. And finally, let me say this. I think I can share this with everybody here. I have spent substantial part of my life now in Europe, but I grew up in a house where education is so paramount. Politics is their number one hobby, and I can tell you, ever since I know politics in Nigeria, rigging is 99% out of the game. So if we do not have enough people that are well educated, that have enough awareness, rigging will continue to be, we might have the number, but we might not win the votes.
Thank you very much. But before Chief Uwazurike, please get ready. But before I bring Chief Uwazurike in, please, can you make this clarification? Because you rightly now just said that we've been ruled by 4%, and you made a comparison to if the 5 states wouldn't agree. And anyone listening might think, okay, this 4% you alluded to just came from these 5 states.
No,
Can you please, so that people don't walk out with that impression?
No, Matthew, that's not what I'm saying. Do not forget that this less than 4% that is sitting on the Commonwealth of the country and making the remaining 96% poor, they are scattered all over the place. They are scattered all over the place. But the good thing about this is if the permutation we're talking about come to be, and enough people that are aware, they know exactly what we're talking about, and they're ready to go, they want to do the work with us, you know, it doesn't really matter where the 4% is coming from.
Okay. So thank you very much. So we will be bringing Chief Uwazurike here, and he would have his remark. Then we will go to question. We will take about 4 to 5 questions at once, so that, you know, obviously we're running out of time. So Chief Uwazurike, if you can unmute yourself and turn on your camera, let's see if you can just, you know, you have heard what everyone was said. So what's your take?
My position as it is today is to face reality. The reality is that the diverse groups that actually constitute those middle belt and southern areas more difficult task. In this case, we have to think of our political leaders in the 2 major political parties. In a simple language, they should start mobilizing for a big political war. When I say war, I don't mean carrying, I mean mobilizing voters first to register and get ready. Mobilizing them to join parties so that when they're doing their primaries, they have enough backup. And if you notice very well, the people from the Middle Belt and the southern states are scattered all over Nigeria. So that if we're ready to exercise our rights, we will make a lot of change. Yes, my sister Ann-Kio has said it. We're at national conference. We did all those things, including restructuring. And in that era, we're hoping that Joanthan will come back so that the conference report will be implemented. But I still remember some people shouting, "Who were at the conference? Oh, whatever you like, you do here. We know what we're going to do." And they did it. In other words, they mentioned that Buhari came in, and Buhari came in and said, "I'm not interested in that report. I have not read it, and I will not read it." In other words, if it is good wisdom, bad idea, no, I'm not interested. And that is why Southern Kaduna is still boiling. I remember we treated Southern Kaduna and Benue specifically. Southern Kaduna is nothing but land grabbing. You drive out the indigents, the police will tell everybody wait, and the invaders will stay there, and the indigents will end up in all these independent camps, displaced people's camps. So we must be vigilant, and we must be prepared for the worst. And the worst, of course, means that if we don't prepare for election, out, but in doing that, we'll be sure to say, look, we're on the way, what we want. And finally, it's only a restructure-minded president who will go about restructuring the country. Some people have said restructure first, it's after restructuring, and then we'll talk about president from it. I think they are wrong. If you bring in someone like Buhari again in 2023, he will make sure that restructuring is suppressed. And I know that in the world today, you can only delay changes, but you cannot stop changes. Otherwise, go ask them in Russia what they did with Soviet Union. Go and ask them in Indonesia what is happening, and so on. But vigilance is the watchword. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful submission. So we will be, Dan, do you want to take the question section now? We will be bringing a Delhi Ajofo to be the first person to ask his question. Oh, Ajofo?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Yeah,
mine is hardly a question. Mine is an information. Some of us here, like Otunba, Olabode said, are over 70. We've lived with these people who are so intransigent that no amount of discussion would appeal to them. Are we certain that they are willing to coexist with us, if not subjugating us? They tried it in Central African Republic. They were chased out. They've tried it elsewhere. I am saying that if we are not prepared to have peaceful coexistence with them, then, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for war. Recently, during the lockdown, we had Alamajiris, so-called Alamajiris, descending on us in the south. I don't know an Alamajiri that will be so able-bodied without his family, and we still stupidly in the south call them Alamajiris. They're up to something. Injury to one is injury to all. If we don't all converge and rescue Southern Kaduna, we're not hiding for nothing. Let's start and do the needful right away. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that brief and wonderful contribution. Then I'm going to be bringing in Elder Abasi Lukanu. Elder, your contribution or question, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Just like last speaker, I think it's exactly what I want to say. That I said it last time. This up and down we're going, discussing this and that. These are people that are very, very little percentage holding the whole Nigeria ransom. Whether it's not west or not east, the minority or the Fulani there. Let the middle belt and the south get together, get rid of these people, and then give them condition. Do you want to stay with us or you go where you come from? Finish. Enough. And then we have to mobilize from the south, start mobilizing and helping these people. If it is war, call it war. We have to liberate these people. What type of nonsense is this every day? Because Nigerians are so, German college bequem, they are so, I don't know how to call it. They want to live like flamboyant life, that's it. They are afraid of death. Look at what is happening in other countries. Enough is enough. We must do something. Let us get together. And mark you, by saying Fulani, Fulani, they are not only the problem. The Southerners, politicians, they give them money, they join with them. Look at what is happening. Our politicians in the Southeast and Southwest, all of them, in the red chamber and the green chamber, they pass the grazing this bill without questioning, without anything, because of money. So that's my own submission. Like my sister said, enough is enough. Let us do something now. And I'm glad that the Honorable said they have packaged the certain materials to the United Nations. And if possible, they can get across also, we in diaspora, we take action too. And then mobilize people. And then because the British, the Americans, you don't see it in the media, where all of us with us, and those of you who are at home, start also writing to this government here. Why is it that CNN is not carrying it? BBC is not carrying it. German news is not carrying it with all these killings, all these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the next person is Tochukwu Okoye. Tochukwu Okoye, are you able to?
Yes, I'm able to carry on. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to have a contribution here. My question is really to Otunba, because I was listening to him. He spoke about the effect that we're seeing now in Nigeria, that the cause of this effect is way, way far back in time. So my question to him is, does he think that this effect we're seeing now, that the cause is solely material? Is this solely material? If so, how do we go about reorienting the ideas and feelings of our people in a different direction, opposed to the one that we are on now? How do we go about doing that? Because I don't think that our problem is solely constitution or intellectual. I think in Nigeria, most of the people there are morally bankrupt. That is why unscrupulous politicians will come in and manipulate people in an opportunistic way. How do we go about reorienting our people's ideas and feelings in order to create this republic that we're looking for? Otherwise, all these ideas, okay, break up this, break up that, I don't think, to my opinion, it's going to work. The whole thing, people will still fight against themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Otunba, if you can, that question is directed at you. If you could basically take that, if you can take that, while after that, then Daniel, you can take the next section where the speakers, because we don't have further questions, where the speakers would obviously, put in their concluding thoughts and solutions. Otunba, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mercy. I do appreciate the question from the last speaker. I mean, the person that asked the question. But before I go there, I want to make reference to the person. I believe he lives in Germany. I want to share with him that also, when I left Nigeria in 1970, I went to Germany, and I lived there for 10.5 years. I went to university there. And because I've seen two sides of the world, I've seen what is going on in Africa, especially in Nigeria, and what is going on in other civilized parts of the world. They are just not the same. And that's why I was looking at the problem holistically from beginning, that because we show that we are not spiritually developed, not church or mosque. We are not spiritually developed that we can govern ourselves. As we speak, some people will even suggest that if Netherlands, that small Netherlands, but to take over, we have to ask him to come and fix us. Within a short period of time, they will fix Nigeria. What's the magic they are going to use? The magic will just be install rule of law. There's no magic that America, Germany, Switzerland, or whatever are using. It's not that we disagree. These 4% are the the people creating the problem. So to answer his question, forum like this we should start using forum like this to build up. Because like I just tell you, there's no free and fair election in Nigeria. I want to be challenged. There's no free and fair election, even at the calculated 31 states, 31 whatever we're talking about, put together. If these people are still in government, you cannot beat them. They're going to be difficult to beat. And like I said, it's not the 5 other states necessarily need to be. Part of the people working, part of the marchetors are from Ondo, from Ogun. Different people put together are messing up the remaining millions of other people in Nigeria. So the question, to answer his question directly, is we need to start working. We need to start working on our people, because it's not only the game of numbers, but it's a game of awareness, the amount of awareness we can implant or imbibe in our people. Because when the election didn't please the majority of people in Belarus, what happened? They stand up. But we don't have that kind of electorate. We don't have that kind of number of people in Nigeria. Because of the poverty level, they will not stand up. And that's what I'm saying. Please let us understand. The next 2 years or so, we can use it massively to educate, to plant an amount of awareness on our people so they know exactly what we are talking about. I hope I've answered the question of the gentleman.
Okay, we thank you very much, Otunba, for this presentation. We are now going to the roundup. There is no other hand that I'm seeing of someone who wants to ask any question. Now, we have identified the problem. I posted something on social media the other day where I said that all over the world, what you find in government is a lot of incompetent people, that it is only the masses who will hold them to account and make them find the correct direction. Now, my question is this: we have identified the problem. There is killings going on in southern Kaduna. And not only in southern Kaduna, the other time we have the Senator Osenie here, there are also killings going on in other parts of Kaduna State as well. There are killings going on in Zamfara State. There are killings going on in Katsina State. Much more killing going on in Borno and Yobe State. Kogi State, sometimes no-go area. So it appears as if Nigeria is heading to a standstill. Economically, we've been told that Nigeria spends 98% of their revenue to service debts. How much now remains for building the country? And now we have seen the price of oil, the value of the Naira is crashing. It is now going to 611 Naira to £1, and towards 475 Naira, 485 Naira to $1 or so. What will be your advice to the people representing the Middle Belt, the Southeast, Southwest, and South-South? What will be your advice, please, to them going forward from now to 2023? What practical steps do you expect them to take to see whether this coalition being talked about here will actually work to put Nigeria on the right path? So we start with the speaker, and then we use it also, please, to give us your rounding up talk, because after this, we will now be heading to a close. So let's start again the way we started. Honorable Joanthan Asake, please.
Yeah, like I said earlier, practically speaking, somebody who has participated in elections in this country before, like myself, I was in the House of Reps between 1999 to 2003, and I have been participating since then. But what I saw that, played out in the last elections, it has brought a new dimension, that talking about just a coalition without looking at what is playing out would be a very difficult thing to fathom. if you look at, if I imagine 2023, if we still go into 2023 with the same structures that we have, the way it is, it will be an uphill task for the coalition to make any meaningful impact, because we must be sure that votes will count, like I keep insisting. But if we are going the way we are right now, I'm not even sure that 2023 will be a reality. I'm not even sure. Because with what we're seeing in Kaduna State, the arrogance of power we're seeing in Kaduna State, I don't know where that is drawn from. It can only be drawn from the kind of the crooked arrangement we have, which gives people this kind of brazen display of power where people, a whole set of people are ignored. And it can happen for this country, that close to the elections, with our coalition, people will begin to be thrown into detention, and they will make an arrangement that is outside the Constitution or outside constitutional provisions. So we really have to think of it very well when we are making the coalition. What actually are we really determined to achieve with the Middle Belt and the Southern Coalition? Number one, if we are determined to achieve a good electoral process, then we must ensure the reforms that are done with the electoral structures before that 2023, or else we must demand for something else and redeem this country. If what we're going through in Kaduna State is anything to go by, I won't wish that the rest of the country go through the same arrogance of power, that somebody just by winning election determines whether you are considered a citizen or not. Right now, as I'm talking, the Fulani are claiming that they are the real owners of Southern Kaduna, and the indigents are not the owners. So, and the power that's be at the state is supporting that narrative. So I'm imagining that we have a replay of that, at the national stage. It's going to be something different. So we really have to look at it.
Okay, we thank you very much. Let's take the next speaker, please. Ms. Briggs, it's your turn, please.
Okay. I've unmuted myself, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Well, I mean, I can only assume that myself and Joanthan are thinking and feeling and seeing this thing alike. I'm only able to do that not because I'm from a southern Kaduna, but I want to believe that looking at it politically, and coming from the region I come from and the state I come from and the experience we have had in election, particularly in 2015 and 2019, you needed to be in a week, more than a week, about 2 weeks before the 2019 election. The military took over the city of Port Harcourt. It was like there was a war already and that they were waiting for war. That was basically what we experienced. In my community, at the presidential election, my community was unable to vote. My local government, we were unable to vote. Over 50 people were killed in broad daylight. In my community, we just have one street in the community. People were killed because a particular party wanted to insist that the election there was won by the president. There was no way the president was going to win election in my community because his party is not on ground in my community. But that is what Joanthan is saying will play out. And I agree with him because I've experienced it. because that was how it was. And that's how it has been. That's how it is going to be. I reminded us of what is going on in Edo State right now, where there is a video floating around. This person is saying is this person is saying is that. You can clearly hear somebody saying to a diplomat of high standing of so many years, arrest them, arrest them, arrest, and everything will be this election, for God's sake. And it's supposed to be one man, one vote. And you are saying they should arrest the people so that they will not be able to vote freely. So basically, if truly we believe that we can solve Nigeria's problem politically, then we must face it politically. And the first thing to address is the agreement that we must restructure Nigeria. Restructure of Nigeria is not difficult. It can be done before 2023 election. Anybody who refuses to restructure Nigeria does not aim to conduct a free and fair election, and they will do what they want, and they will maintain the power. What I'm seeing going on, if we bear in mind that Buhari has done 2 tenures, which is permitted by agreement or law, understanding or whatever. But now what we are seeing very clearly is that the North, whatever that means, is not planning to give up power. Because if it is planning to give up power, it won't be as desperate as it is now. Our problem in the South, the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Niger Delta, everybody wants to be vice president. Now, if you want to be vice president, then it means you don't want to be president. And so now, if we say that it is Tinubu that is preparing to come as president, then it means that Tinubu is selfish politically, because Obasanjo has done 2 tenures for the Yorubas. And so when it comes to the South, the Yorubas cannot have it again, because the Niger Delta have done 1 tenure of elective post. 1 tenure was what Joanthan did as a candidate that was voted for. The other one, he was finishing Yar'Adua's tenure because Yar'Adua died. So now, if that be the case, Yoruba people should not be angling for presidency because they've done 8 years. And Niger Delta people have only done 1 tenure. For me, I don't even want it to come to the Niger Delta. I want a restructured Nigeria, and I really don't care who becomes the president if Nigeria is restructured. So I still say that if it is coming to the South, then it should go to Igbo people, because they have not had even 1 tenure, while my people have had 1 tenure. But bottom line, the truth of the matter is that if you are in Nigeria, you live in Nigeria, you feel what is going on, you breathe what is going on, and you know what is going on, there is not going to be the type of election that people are used to in Germany and the United Kingdom and in America. It's not the election that we're going to have in Nigeria. We're going to have an election where, do what you like, they will announce who they want to announce as the winner of any election, from the senator all the way down to councillor. So we need to decide what we want to do. And if we decide wrongly, we will live with the consequences. If we decide rightly, we will be going in the right direction.
We thank you very much. Chief Uwazurike, please, your concluding comments. Chief Uwazurike, please. Do we still have him with us?
Hold on, Chief Uwazurike. No, I think he's been locked out.
Okay. Well, we have had the other speakers. Probably his network may have been disappointing again. Let me just ask this quick question. The speakers we appear to know what the Southern and Middle Belt people want. These regions have their representatives at the National Assembly. Is it difficult for the people who have the sovereignty to call the people, their servants at the National Assembly and tell them, look, this is what we want. And since you have the numbers, you can get it if you really, really want to have it. Why is it possible? Why is it possible to do that? Honorable Joanthan, please. Why is it possible to do that?
Possible or impossible?
No. Why is it impossible? Why has it not been possible? Why is it impossible to do that? Yeah.
Joanthan? Okay. Joanthan, you are still muted.
Okay. You see, basically they say politics is a game of interest. And people define their interest, and when it comes to Nigerian politics, it's even more sort of where you see clearly what people should do and ought to do for the collective interest, even of their posterity. But they mortgage it oftentimes, you know, getting what they will get for today. I'm telling you, when we have come together, for instance, as a bloc, saying we want to redeem Nigeria, you will see people will define their interest, you know, personal interest, and begin to support candidates. You will see a person maybe from Port Harcourt who will be depended upon to take decisions, but he's busy supporting somebody in another part of the country, maybe in Kano, for his own personal gains. So it is difficult. Even the people we have as our representatives, are they really the representatives of the people? If you check each one of them, how he went to that particular position, you will trace him to a particular godfather or a particular group. And so his loyalty is with the particular godfather or particular group that took him there. And so when you talk about the general interest, in the interest of the country, his own country is his own group or his own godfather. And so we have to contend with that. And we have come to a position where we worship money right now in our politics. And so people that throw up themselves, or people that are thrown up to represent us, most of them are not people that are the choice of the people. That is what we have today. So we have a lot of issues to contend with. And that is why I would always end by saying that without a properly restructured Nigeria, it's going to be difficult to realign this country the way we expect.
Okay.
All right, thank you. As if you don't mind, we are practically coming to the end of this discussion.
Yes, I think you can have a question from, I think Tim Elumba is raising his hand.
Yes, then after that question, we conclude, please. Tim.
Good evening, madam and gentlemen, at least the ones I can see from here. It's been a nice evening listening to our guests elaborating on issues that has been bedeviling the nation. But then, the last time I contributed to a program like this, I said, how long do we keep talking? How long do we have option B, plan B, so that if talking fails, what next? May I bring to our attention what happened in 2019? There was a program posted by proponents of Igbo presidency. One of our guests here, Madam Ann-Kio Briggs, was one of the guest speakers on that occasion. I have a recording of all the speeches by the President General of Hanez Ndibo. I have a recording of Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu and Okwesileze Nwodo and a host of other powerful speakers. In fact, I find it interesting to say that by the time Okwesile's Nwodo and other powerful voices we are about to speak, all the journalists have already deserted because they have gotten their honorarium and left. So I can confidently tell us that I am the only journalist that day who have a recording of every speech made by Nwodo, Ann-Kio, Briggs, Okwesile's Nwodo, Iwenyamu, and a host of others, because they made their speech in the later part of the day. I heard what they say, and all what they said points to the one fact that nothing is about to change. And it has always been my line of thought that nothing is about to change in Nigeria unless Southerners have option B. And option A, which is what we are doing now, which is part of what I'm doing now, is talking. And we have been talking, and we have been talking and talking. But if there is no option B, then I think we should save ourselves the breath. Because to start with, I am not seeing anything that is about to change. When you talk of Northerners relinquishing power, I don't think they're about to do that in any year soon. And if that doesn't happen, what next? That is my question. What is our plan B? What is option B? Talking is not going to solve this problem. We have talked enough.
Okay, let's listen to Otunba and then if, the other speakers briefly, please, 30 seconds, and then we'll round up, please. Otunba,
okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope 30 seconds will be enough. My concern, like I said, I agree with all what we have discussed here, even though I was like a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I am a very practical and realistic person. I do understand. I know the magnitude of the problem. And like I said to you, growing up in Nigeria and also having spent for such a part of my life in Europe, I know what the people of Nigeria are going through. And I've dissected it and see that the only way out is to bring about the restructuring agenda. We need to put every pressure, everything we have to put pressure in restructuring the country. And in my presentation, I've made examples of where the restructuring are working wonderfully well for people. So talking also about killings, yeah, even one person killed in Ondo State is too much. Not to talk of where large number of people are being killed every day in South Africa. I do appreciate that that is unacceptable. So, but the biggest problem you and I have, and all of us are having here, is the people we want to lead. To lead these millions of people to vote for us and stand by and get their vote count, like Honorable Joanthan said, like my sister answered. You see, we need to educate these people. We need to educate them. Because like I said, there's no free and fair election in Nigeria. I grew up there and I know exactly what I'm talking about. So in order to carry these people to follow us to this promised land, we need to educate them. How do we go about educating them? It's also part of maybe the next program should start highlighting that. How do we educate them? We need to educate the majority of the people, because when the vote of the millions of other people are not counted, rigging is taking place like as usual. So what do you want to do about it? So you still go to settle for what we do not want. And Aka said, yes, it's convenient, it's okay that we say if they don't do that, of course there should be a plan B. But one of the plan B I'm talking about should be a massive awareness program to our people to be there in case we need to stand up. That's my final thought. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you very much, everyone. We have come to the end of this evening. And as Tim Elumba asked, I will take his question to be a rhetorical question. We have talked enough. What is the next action? The next action, you all know, we are a civil people. Nigeria is a country that is apparently deaf, that only hears when something makes a big, loud bang noise. Ann-Kio Briggs is one person I've known, and that she has always argued about, and she has always said that those talking, as we have discussed this evening, should be, in actual sense, those that should be talked to. Therefore, it actually should be the other way around. Those who aren't now talking should be the one talking to us. But again, because we're peaceful people, that's why the conversation continues. Now, once more, again, the conversation this evening had centered on the Southern and Middle Belt Coalition, a panacea to Nigerians' existential crisis. It means Nigeria, as we are today, we found ourselves at a crossroad where the foundation of what ought to build and be the foundation of this nation is very shaky. We then have this conversation this evening. Everyone has made input. The conversation doesn't stop. We keep having this conversation even as we go out and log out of this meeting. We thank Governance Index that made this conversation possible by giving us this platform. Once more, Governance Index is a social enterprise that is dedicated to purposeful leadership around the world. And we had, as guest this evening, Chief Goddy Uwazurike, who is a lawyer and the former president, Aka-Ikenga, a social cultural group. Now, sadly, he had left before we concluded. Also in our midst today, who also updated us on what is happening in Southern Kaduna is Joanthan Asake, who is the president of Southern Kaduna People's Union, SOKAPU. Joanthan, thank you very much for being part of this conversation this evening. And thank you very much, because as we are aware that you are in Southern Kaduna and the network is not the most friendly, it's always very difficult for you to find a place that you can get network to stay for this long. And we are very grateful that you were able to stay this long. Also, we have Ann-Kio Briggs, a human rights activist. And everyone knows who she is. She takes very serious stance when people want to shy away from national discourse. Also, and lastly, we have Otunba, Hashim, Olabode, Osenie, a political and public affairs commentator. As you all know, he studied in Germany, like myself. I would say, schönen guten Abend nochmal. So on that note, I would say thank you very much for being part of this conversation this evening. It has been a fantastic conversation. And the moderator this evening remains Daniel Elomba, the CEO of Elomba Communications. And I am your host, Mazi Tochukwu Ezoke. Remain blessed. And good evening, everyone. Sorry.